Hi, welcome to live stream yoga with Louise. Tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is all about showing mercy and cutting yourself some slack when you need it most. As always, play when you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to begin today's practice coming into a supine position. And make sure that you either have a pillow or two blocks handy for our relaxation sequence at the end of today's practice. Find your way down onto the back. And then when you're ready, softly float your bent knees up to the table and float your arms overhead, but give me a nice little bend in the elbows. We're going to come into a little stress-relieving bug shake. Then relax your hands in a T-frame down onto the mat. Drop your feet nice and wide and start to find an alternating knee drop, side to side. Maybe your knees are grazing the mat as you drop them. Maybe they're nowhere near the mat. Cut yourself some slack and just go with the flow. Turning your head away from your dropping knees. Inhaling as your knees draw towards the center, exhaling and letting go as they drop. And draw your knees back to center, heel toe in so your legs are back in parallel. Draw the right knee up and start to trace big, lazy circles with it. Change direction. Change sides. Keeping the weight of your back nice and heavy into the mat. Change sides. Then begin to bring it into a stress-releasing breath pattern. Pavanmuktasana. Big breath in, on an exhale, hug your knees in towards your chest and repeat the cycle. Giving yourself a nice audible exhale. Getting a gentle north-south rocking pattern going through the lower back. Then translate that pattern into more of an east-west pattern, maybe gently hugging onto your knees. You're going to begin to rock quite wide and then stop in a little fetal tuck on the right. Tucking your right arm underneath your head, just softly holding onto your knees and pausing there for a moment. Then cradle rock for a few again before we find that same fetal position on the second side. Drop and hold when you're ready. Ease your way onto the back and see if you can find your way into half a happy baby on the right by bending the right knee, reaching for the undercarriage of the foot and just tucking the knee in towards the armpit, holding the stretch. Trying to keep your whole back pressing into the mat. Then change sides. Then maybe see if you can hold onto both feet, or you can modify by holding onto the calves or the back of your thighs. and find your way into that cradle rock again. We're going to start to make the rock a little bit bigger, and we're going to see if we can come to lying on the right side of the body, keeping hold of those feet. Then rock again. Before you come to lying on the left side of your body, holding on to those feet. Press up from here into a cross-legged seat. Let's take it to Sukhasana, crossing the right leg in front of left. Drape your hands on your knees and sit up nice and tall, beginning to find a over-the-shoulder look. Think east-west pattern, releasing through the neck, peeking over one shoulder and then the other, maintaining your tall seat. And looking over the left shoulder and symbolically wipe the stress off your shoulder. And do the same on the right. Find your way back to the middle and begin to trace a little Kundalini spiral, working clockwise. You can make those circles as big or as small as you need them. Come to stillness and start to play in a seated cat-cow. Exhaling to round out in cat, almost tipping the weight off your tailbone and hanging on your knees. And then inhaling to come through, allowing for a hollow back and peeking up to the sky. Find your rhythm. Then tuck both hands behind your head. Give me a gentle fall back into your hands, just releasing softly through the neck. And then exhale to nod chin to chest, drawing your elbows together and down and putting a little bit of pressure on the back of your neck. Do that maybe 3 times. Then find your way into a side fold, and for this one, maybe have a little bit more space on your mat. So we're going to ground through the right leg and we're going to fall left. You're going to think of falling onto your left hip and rocking back up. Maybe you're adding a little stretch through the top arm. Reaching as long as you can through that right arm. Hold your next one. Grounding through that right foot. And then maybe take your right arm, press the right knee away and drop down to the right shoulder and hold the stretch. Peel back up, find your way back to a cross-legged seat, this time left in front of right. Cup your knees and find that over the shoulder peak. Inhaling for the middle, exhaling to peak. Look over the right shoulder, hold it, symbolically, or wipe off your stress. And then do the same on the left. Find your way to an anti-clockwise Kundalini spiral, maybe closing your eyes and visualizing that beautiful coiling energy that you're building up from the base of your spine and allowing it to bleed all the way up towards the crown. Stir, arouse the energy within. Come to stillness and begin to find your cat-cow. Then come to stillness, center a line, and tuck the hands behind your head loosely. Pull the weight of your head into your hands and just pause there. Our spine is in neutral. And then nod chin to chest and draw the elbows down, adding a tiny bit of pressure on the back of your neck. Let's do that twice more. Find your way from here into that falling pattern. We're going to ground left and we're going to fall right. Just find the fall first. And then maybe add an overhead reach when you're ready. Walking through that tension in your bottom, we're going to hold the next one. Then maybe add a knee press and a drop down on the top shoulder. Keeping your navel softly drawn in. Find your way from here into a 4-point kneeling frame, setting yourself up at the top end of the mat. But let's mix it up today and let's invert our hands. So fingertips are looking towards your knees. And you're going to cat-cow from here, thinking hollow back and rounded back. Inhale for the hollow back. Exhale for the round back. Find your way to a neutral tabletop line. Tuck your toes under. And maybe just creep your hands back slightly. We're going to do a bum push back, maybe allowing your wrists and some of your palm to come off, so you're pressing into your fingers and then reground. So as you sit back into the toe breaker, you allow a portion of your hands to peel off the mat. Conditioning into those fingers. Stay here, or maybe you can try a down dog with an inverted hand position. Thinking bum piking up, stretching legs, arms, spine. Belly button pulled in. Then release back down. Come to a tall heel and release those wrists with a little starburst. Maybe you need to work a little circular release into the wrists. We're going to find our way back into a down dog And then we'll use the down dog to find our way to the top end of the mat. Settle into your dog. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, take your right arm, reach across the midline to hold on to the outside of your left thigh, calf, or ankle. Peek underneath your armpit and hold the stretch. Let's repeat on the opposite side. Then find your way onto the tips of your fingers and walk your feet towards the top end of your mat, ending in a loose forward fold and maybe adding a little ragdoll sway side to side. Check that your feet are more or less hip-width distance apart. Come to stillness along the midline. Take a big breath in and peel up. Reaching your arms for the sky. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, come down in a soft wood chop. Hanging your arms alongside the body. Let's do that twice more. Let go of all that tension that you're holding on to. Peel back up. Find a focal point on the wall or the floor in front of you. And find a one-legged balance, drawing your right knee up. Maybe you want to stay here in your one-legged mountain, or maybe you'd like to extend the leg into a standing hands to big toe D position. Then reground that right leg and set up a tree line on the left. You could be having the foot low to the floor, or you could be sliding the leg up a little bit higher, maybe even ending on the inseam of your right leg. Try to fist the hands behind your back if you can, and open up into a fisted tree line. Pause here for a moment, look for balance, look for control. Then take a big warrior two lunge, step back, keeping the hands fisted behind your back. Once you've found the leg line, drop your fist down between your bum cheeks and look up towards the sky. Opening up your throat and your chest. Take a big breath in, and on an exhale, take a bow into humble warrior. Try to keep those hands fisted behind your back as you transition into a high lunge, peeling the heel of the back foot off the floor. Look for balance, look for control. Try to drop down through the pelvis. Release your back knee, but keep the toes tucked under. And then sit back, bum to heel. You can either keep it a tall kneel as you extend the front leg, or sit back, bum to heel, and take a little bow. Then release your hands and creep them to the top end of your mat, taking a little stretch. Start to bend your lead leg. Find your way into a forward fold, hands to floor or hands to legs or hands to block, and hold the fold. Opening up the back chain of your legs, you could even invert the hands if you like, and maybe walk them a little bit past your feet. Soften your knees. Peel up. We're coming into a dancer balance. We're going to try to bind to the right foot, and let's take the bind from behind today. Bending the right knee, reaching back with the right hand to grab hold of the bridge of your foot. You're going to start to squeeze the right knee into center. Keep that squeeze going. Kick the foot away from your bottom into your hand and start to fold forward into a tabletop line, extending the left arm out in front of you. Find your way back to a tall stand. Give the legs a little pedal out. We're going to play with a little wood chop. Big breath in to stretch and reach. Exhale to bend and flop. Inhale to peel back up. Find your focal point and come into a one-legged mountain. Stay here with the knee just drawn up, looking for balance. Or extend the leg out in front. Reground and set up a tree line with your right leg. Maybe fisting the hands behind you once you've settled in. Keep the fisted hand position and take a big warrior two step back. Find your frame and then start to make your knuckles heavy to the floor. Look up to the sky. Big breath in, exhale to take a fold or a bow in humble warrior. Transition to a high lunge. Release the back knee, keep the toes tucked under. Think kneel, start to extend the front leg. You can stop high, toes off the mat, or you can sit back into a toe breaker, taking a little bow. Uninterlace the hands, allow the tingling to abate as you just creep your fingertips forward and take a stretch through the arms. Find your way to the front of the mat for a forward fold. Inverting the hands if you like. Peel up when you're ready. We're going to find our dancer line, Notarayasana, on the left. Let's bend the left knee. See if you can grasp the foot behind you. Squeeze the knee into center. Kick the foot away from your bottom and begin to hinge forward. looking for almost a warrior three light line. Then ease your way from here to stand at the top end of the mat for a few rounds of Chandra Namaskar. Bring your hands together, palms up. Find a supported back bend. And then on an exhale, a soft bendy forward fold. And begin to oscillate 3 times between your back bend and your relaxed fold. On your last fold, step your left leg back, open up your front foot to 90 and knife edge your back foot and start to trace a semicircle with your right arm, reaching for the front and the back of the room. Then pivot in the opposite direction to lunge side to side on the mat. And let's do the first few at about hip height, keeping your arms and shoulders soft and relaxed. Find your way from here back to the top end of the mat and step back into a strong plank line. Release your knees, shins and feet. Drape your arms on the mat and set up a puppy stretch, thinking chin and chest looking off the front of your mat. Drag onto the belly, set up a cobra line, and maybe shrug, release, play through the shoulders. Ease your way into a down dog frame when you're ready and play with the knees and hips. Almost making your down dog a little dancing, joyful, spontaneous dog. Hold still. Kick up the left leg into a three-legged dog. Hold it. And then change legs, kicking up the right. Do a swing through step. Find your way into that soft fold. Ease your way into a supported back bend. Then back to your standing mountain with your palms looking up to the sky. Find your back bend and fold. Start to play. One back bend, one fold. Keep your movements soft and fluid-like. End in the soft fold. Step your right leg back. Open up the front foot. Knife edge your back foot. And start to find Soma Chandrasana 1 and 2, reaching for the front and the back of the room. Then pivot in the opposite direction and find your side to side lunge. Allowing the groin an opportunity to start warming. End looking towards the top end of the mat and step back into a plank. Relax your knees, your shins and your feet. Set up your puppy stretch, looking off the front of your mat. Drag your way onto the belly. Set up your cobra. Shrug, release. Ease your way into a basic down dog and play with the movement through the knees and hips. Hold your dog. Kick up the right leg. Look for that beautiful stretch. And then change legs. Do a swing through step. Find your loose bendy fold. Lead it up into a supported back bend. Find your mountain, palms looking up to the sky. Big breath in. Find your back bend. Exhale to fold. Start to play. End in the fold. Step your left leg back. Open up the right leg, knife edge the back leg, and start to play, reaching for the front and the back of the room. Pivot. Start to side squat lunge. Maybe you can take it lower to the mat. Opening up beautifully through that groin. We're going to end looking to the top end of the mat, and we're going to step back into a plank. Release the puppy. Onto the belly for some cobra play. Down dog it. Release the knees and the hips. And hold your dog. Pick up the left leg when you're ready. Then change legs. Swing through, step into a loose, soft fold. Lead it up into a back bend. Find your mountain, palms looking up to the sky. Start to play one back bend, one fold. Ending the fold. Step your right leg back. Open up the left leg, knife edge your back foot, and begin to trace with your free arm. When you're ready, pivot and begin to find a lower side squat lunge. And looking to the top end of your mat, step back into a strong plank. Release the puppy. Onto the belly for some cobra play. Down dog it. Give me some movement to the knees and the hips. Settle in. Pick up the right leg. Change legs. Swing through step. Find your loose fold. Find your back bend. Back to mountain, palms up to the sky, and give yourself a moment here. Inhaling and exhaling gently through your nose. We're going to set up a supported supine frame from here. So maybe taking the 2 blocks, or maybe you've got a pillow or 2 that you'd like to work with. We're going to place our props towards the lower end of the mat. And we're going to use them to come to either a supine bridge, a supine butterfly, or you could even come to a supine bridge. So I'm going to demo the corpse pose. Coming to lie on your back, allowing for some elevation through the feet by having the blocks positioned underneath them, and then just starting to relax the weight of your back line into the mat. We'll come into some conscious breath work here. Alternate nostril breathing. Taking the right hand, middle and index finger, Place them on your third eye. Close your right nostril with your thumb and take a deep inhale through the left. Then close the left nostril with your ring finger. Open and exhale right. Then inhale right. Close it. Open and exhale left. Find the pattern first. Trying to make your exhalation twice as long as your inhalation. And then if you're feeling comfortable there, add some retention. Inhale through one nostril, close it, then hold your breath. You can add a slight chin drop if you like. Then release the chin now, open and exhale through the opposite nostril. Starting to find a 1 to 2 to 2 inhalation to retention to exhalation ratio. Find your rhythm and settle in. Keep that alternate breath pattern going and think about what you are doing internally to your body with this breath work. Aligning the right and the left side of your body with male and female energy, creating some Zen harmony between the two energy systems. Trying to return your body to beautiful homeostasis. After your next round of active breath work, release your hands and just relax them alongside the body and allow your breath to return to normal, inhaling and exhaling through both nostrils. Take a moment to pick a pose to end your class. It could be the supported position, or maybe you'd like to find your way up to a seated frame. Keep your eyes closed and your focus inward as we play with a little guided relaxation exercise. In your mind's eye, visualize a large fish tank filled with nothing but clear water. See yourself taking a glass dropper and begin dropping minute splotches of different colored oil-based paints into the water, creating beautiful ribbons of dancing color that twirl and swirl around one another. But you keep adding paint, too much paint in fact, and your beautiful palette becomes overburdened. turning your dancing wonderland into nothing but a chaotic, dull, muddy pool. Cut yourself some slack and add a few drops of bleach to calm and clear your slate and begin again. Being careful this time to get the balance right and stop before the tipping point is breached. Inhale, exhale. Inhale that chaos. Exhale, sublime calm. Show some mercy. Cut yourself some slack when your day starts to go pear-shaped. Mercy is giving yourself what you need in that moment to make your world just a little less muddied and unforgiving. It might make all the difference between surviving this day or drowning in its misery. Have mercy. Cut yourself some slack when you need it. With that thought, let's end off today's practice, nodding chin to chest on the words Om Shanti. Thank you so much for coming up and joining me for today's practice. Till next time, keep it light.